Good morning. Happy Palm Sunday. We are delighted to be leading your meditation this morning. This morning we're going to start with you'll hear a chant, very simple, peace I am. Peace I am. And then we will lead into a musical meditation with the harp and flute, guide you a bit, and then a little Native American flute song will come on after that. And then at the end, you will hear Peace I Am again to let you know that we are closing that part of this meditation. So thank you all for being here with us this morning. Peace I am. 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 As we quiet the mind and relax the body, breathe in these words. Breathe out any words or thoughts that no longer serve us. In the peace of spirit, breathing out and sharing that with the world. Allow the music now to take you on your very own sacred journey into that peace. gently melt into the silence. very gently now in your own time and place, allowing the excitement in the room to bring you back. Thank you all. Namaste. Christ, Mohammed, Michael, God is Kuan Yin, Ra, Jehovah, Kali, Allah. God is Buddha, Krishna, Christ, Mohammed, Allah. God is Kuan Yin, Ra, Jehovah, Kali, Allah. God is Buddha, Krishna, Christ, Mohammed, Allah. God is Kuan Yin, Ra, Jehovah, Kali, Allah. God is Buddha, Krishna, Christ, Mohammed, Allah. God, Goddess, Kuan Yin, Ra, Jehovah, Kali, Allah. We're just a warm-up act. This is a sing-along. It's totally optional. I am one with the heart of the mother. I am one with the heart of the mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God. I am one with the heart of the mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God. I am one with the heart of the mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God. We honor the place in you where the entire universe resides. We honor the place in you of love, light, truth, and peace. We honor the place in you where when you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, there is only one of us. Namaste. We still got some people coming in. We'll do just a couple more minutes here. Let's do this. know what? Let's do a joy song. Let's do a joy song. That'll get us moving in there. These words are very easy. They were inspired by Gandhi. The words are, instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Who's lost sleep over waiting for there to be peace on earth? We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that, okay? Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. That's it. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Like the Macarena, we got hand movements. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. If every journey begins with a single step, I'm taking my first step now. If we are to be the change that we want to see, I'm changing myself now. Always a good place to start, the one in the mirror. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. All right, we're going to get a little funky. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Yeah. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Yo, 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 don't wait for peace to come. Be the change you want to see. God just said that, yo. And now a word from our sponsor.
Isn't it great already, right? I know. So for those who may be new to the center today, welcome, first of all. And even for those who've been here a long time, if you're wondering where Ken is, well, we've had the pleasure of having these guys come through town. And so for many months, we've been planning this. This isn't any last-minute thing or anything. So we gave Ken the week off, and we have the joy of Armand and Angelina. Armand's an award-winning songwriter and inspirational speaker whose enthusiastic presence inspires us all to love life passionately. And Angelina's angelic, and yes, it is. We heard you singing last night, which was wonderful, right? And heart-opening voice draws from many languages. She was classically trained at Indiana University and was formerly with the Epcot Center. They're international performers. They're using songs and humor to remind us now to open our hearts and remember that we are meant to experience heaven on earth. So please welcome Armand and Angelina to do our service today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. We have some nice consolation gifts for you backstage. Thank you. Well, we're delighted to be back. It's been a year almost to the exact since we did a Sunday service here. And we always love coming here. Now, are there people here that are experiencing this center for the very first time today? Please give Reverend Ken a second chance and come back next week. I always get a little nervous if the very first experience is with us. Okay, so yeah, and ministers, typically we don't see a lot of ministers because they're taking advantage of the time off and they're recharged, or they don't know how to explain us to the audience. Either way, we're delighted to be here. So I was checking out some universal meanings of Palm Sunday. Happy Palm Sunday. And the one that I saw that I thought I resonated with the most was this little simple thing about Palm Sunday. At its heart, Palm Sunday is a day that celebrates peace over power, humility over pride, and service over dominance. I think we can all do more of that. Okay, so let's do another joy song. You may have heard us sing this here before in the past. It's one of our favorite songs. It was inspired by a movie called The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. Anybody see it? Very spiritual movie. I got to admit, I love getting my spirituality from movies. That's really wonderful. Who saw Wayne's World? All about the law of attraction. Oh, yes, it will be mine. You see? That's pre-paving right there. So this movie had a young innkeeper. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Second one's not as great, but it had Richard Gere in it, so we had to watch it. So in the movie, whenever the innkeeper would get a complaint from somebody, which he did a lot, he would always say, everything would be okay in the end. And they would say, yes, but it's not okay right this moment. Well, it must not be the end. And to me, that was very in alignment with our religious science teaching, that things are in divine order, that things are working out the way they're supposed to work out. You know, Byron Katie says, how do you know if something's happening the way it was supposed to happen? Because it happened. You know, we can't fix that. We can change things in the future. So we decided to write a song based upon that little quote in the movie. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. And trust me, we sing that all the time, usually to the other one when the other one's starting to stress. Everything, okay. All right, let's try it. Very easy, simple melody. Everything has the same melody. Here we go. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Nothing in this universe will ever last. So if you're feeling low, this too shall pass. Nothing in this universe will ever last. So if you're feeling low, this too shall pass. Because everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. We're gonna sha-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la-la. Every happy song has to have some sha-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la-la. Even when the darkness seems to hide your way, after every night, a brand new day. Even when the darkness seems to hide your way, after every night, a brand new day. A brand new day. A sunny St. Augustine day. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Just the audience. It's not the end. Let's sha-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la-la. Okay, here comes the tricky part. Even when it all just seems to go your way, don't get attached, it's gonna change. Even when it all just seems to go your way, no matter how many times you saw The Secret, it's still gonna change. That's okay because everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. It's not the end. It's not the end. So if you don't like the weather, wait a day. It's not the end. It's not the end. You can't believe all they talk about on TV, our politics. It's not the end. So thank you all for being here for the meditation this morning, those that came, and thank you all for showing up today. By the way, it's nice to see a really active center because since the great pause happened in 2002 through 2020 through 2023 pretty much, we've been struggling to get congregations back up, and y'all are really, really happening. So give yourselves a round of applause. Just being open is actually an accomplishment because many of the places we used to play regularly either had to close or change or sell their building and all that. So y'all are doing something really right, you know, offering something, an oasis in this area of beautiful, beautiful new thought teaching that can uplift and be so practical that you can use everything about it in your life. One of the things I love about New Thought is it's not just a Sunday thing. It's stuff that you learn that you can use in every single aspect of your life. It's extremely practical and effective, you know, different tools. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
So, are we ready?
Are we ready?
Let's give
Let's
them our
go.
service. Yes, this is, I think, so this is service number 7. So I think we must have been here. This must be our 7th time here, all the way back with Reverend Claire many, many years ago. So, okay.
All right. Well, our talk today is Turn the Other Cheek. And we will be talking about forgiveness and trust.
And one of the people that really helped me understand forgiveness and trust was a man from my childhood. He was one of the most consistent people in my childhood. I didn't come from exactly Leave It to Beaver like Angelina did. And so she really did. It's like out of a 50s movie when I find out about her family and just how they all got along. I went, that is absolutely a lot like mine in no way. So anyway, so this is a man that did give me some peace and understanding, and he was quite a trendsetter. Boys and girls, are you ready to sing? It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for a beauty. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Good morning and happy Palm Sunday, everyone. We are delighted to be with you here today. You might be wondering why I'm wearing this doctor coat. Obviously, I'm not a real physician. I'm a metaphysician. Actually, I never met a physician I didn't like. Don't always like their advice, but I like them. Okay. So it's customary to have, by the way, you might wonder why my shoes don't match. Yep, I'm just doing a little cross-dressing today. Yeah. I like to mess with labels because you know what? Labels can be very informative and descriptive, and I'm totally cool with that. If you see a bunch of people in the room and everybody's got a blue shirt on and one person's got a yellow shirt, you say, you know, that person in the yellow shirt, that is a label. You're labeling them for that moment as a description. But a lot of times we use labels to separate ourselves from other people, to look down upon people, or maybe look down on ourselves. We might say, oh, that person's very wealthy, unlike me, you know, some way to feel separate by labeling. And so I like to use lots of labels in order just to confuse people. So I tell people that I'm a gay heterosexual that cross-dresses. You know, just to confuse people, you know. Cross-dressing metaphysician, that's even more. So it's customary to have a word or phrase in Armand and Angelina's neighborhood. We welcome you to that today. And our phrase today is, like Angelina said, turn the other cheek. Now, we've all heard that. For me, I was always a little bit confused by it. You know, so in the Old Testament, they used to talk about, I mean, I wasn't there, but I heard about it. They used to talk about an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Unfortunately, there are still people that hold on to that philosophy, but that's a very, very outdated philosophy because that left everyone toothless and blind. And we don't want to do that. Although that is the name of the dragon in How to Train Your Dragon, and so I have a fond feeling about toothless. So anyway, not that I want that. Good dental care, very important. So then in the New Testament, they said, turn the other cheek. And there's a whole lot of metaphysical meanings on how that is, seeing things in a new way. Letting yourself forgive a situation that may seem impossible to forgive, not for them, but for you. And we're going to be talking a lot about that. But what happened to me is when I started learning about codependency, as a matter of fact, Angelina and I have both done some codependency workshops. We wanted to go together, but they said we couldn't.
Well, I always said in the beginning, I didn't know what codependency was before I met Armand.
I taught her. I taught her, yeah. Yeah. Here's how you know you don't have any codependency issues. You're here. Because it's mixed up in everything, people, relationships, family, food, whatever. It can all be mixed in there. And so we're working on that. We're getting better. We're healing. We're perfectly imperfect. But the whole idea of turn the other cheek felt a little codependent to me. Oh, if somebody slaps you on one cheek, give them the other one. Say, hit me here. Now, obviously, that's not the metaphysical meaning, but I thought about it and I thought, is there a possibility that somewhere when that spiritual truth was given to whoever it was given to, and it ended up in the Bible, that somehow in translation it may have gotten changed a bit? Is there any possibility? My favorite example of this is all of these priests went down in the basement to read the old scriptures, and they translated it from the original Greek and all this to try to really get a feeling of it. And they're down there doing a deep dive to understand the actual meaning, what was meant before the translations. And one screams out in despair, oh my God, the word was we need to celebrate, not celibate. Okay, anyway, one letter could change everything. Celebrate versus being celibate, yeah. Anyway, so anyway, that's it. I heard that was a true story. Totally trust that person. It's kind of like Facebook. If it's on Facebook, it's got to be true. Yeah. All right. So my thought was, they left out a letter. Like they left out a letter. They forgot to put the letter in celebrate and left the letter out to get celibate. They did the opposite with this one. One letter could be anything. So you don't want to fight back. You don't want to stand there and be abused. Maybe when it was originally said and written, it was, if somebody is being abusive to you, turn the other cheeks and walk away. Doesn't that make more sense? It makes more sense to me. Lovingly, one of my friends who does a lot of social media, she has this thing, when somebody's not working well with me and they're not treating me the way I deserve, and I've said something, I do block and bless. Block and bless, because you can block people from your accounts if they're not being respectful. Block and bless. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It just means you don't want to have them anymore there. Tupac has a great saying, I want you to have a wonderful meal, but not at my table. And you have to have people that you say, I'm setting these boundaries up, not at my table. There's all kinds of wonderful ways that we can be loving, kind, blessing people and still take care of ourselves, because love thy neighbor as thyself. We forget that last little part. So we're going to be talking a lot about different ways to forgive, tools to do this, because it's a big challenging. There's somebody to forgive. That's another thing. If you're still here, the last great final frontier, as they said in Star Trek, the final frontier, to boldly go where no one has gone before. Forgive thyself. The hardest thing to do is to forgive yourself for all the things you did that you thought you could have done differently. Anybody ever thought they could have done something differently? Yeah. Can't pull that off. So anyway.
How about the stages?
So I like to think of forgiveness as a process versus a thing. Now my brain wants to just do it at a thing. Oh, it doesn't feel good to not forgive someone. I forgive them. But I find, yeah, exactly. Because really there's four parts of us, right? There's our mind, okay? There's our emotions. There's our physical body and our spirit. There's a whole quadrinity there. And the mind can get around forgiveness very easily, and the spiritual part of us doesn't even have to get around forgiveness because it never judged, so it doesn't need to forgive. So those two can get there quickly. But the human body and the emotions have a little more trouble with that, and they will let you know if they're not ready. You know, Marianne Williamson, what does she say?
Well, about lunch?
Yes.
Go ahead.
What she says is, just because you've forgiven someone doesn't mean you want to do lunch. You know, because maybe your body and your emotions are not quite ready there. You're moving. So I like to think of it in 5 very, very graceful ways. The first one is like a pre-forgiveness. That is, I know it's not working for me to hold this grudge. It doesn't feel good to me, and I know I need to do something about it. That's the first step, just being aware that you need or want to do something in that department to move towards that forgiveness. So then you might get to kind of an ego version of forgiveness. We can, and it's okay because we have an ego. And it's okay to let them have their say. So you might say something like, oh, I forgive that jerk for what they did to me. And believe it or not, that's a step towards it, because it's almost like telling your ego, okay, I know you're upset and I know why you're upset and you have a right to be upset, but we've got to do our work. I like to think of my inner family as all of them are in the back seat of the car. Hopefully my higher self is driving, but if I don't talk to them, they scream the whole time I drive. And so the ego will scream sometimes. So just talk to them. What do you need? What's going on? Well, I don't want to be around that person today. I know there's a bunch of people getting together, but I'm not ready yet. Sometimes you can just say, I'm going to honor you. We're not going to go there today. We're going to cancel. We'll wait till the rest of you gets better. And then your little child might go, thank you for listening to them. Ego was protecting me, and you listened. You know, sometimes the ego is a protector. Now, a lot of times the ego will try to protect you from something you don't need to be protected by anymore. Okay? In other words, it's not, you're not going to starve to death. You're in a great relationship. She's not going to leave me, even though part of me goes every morning, please God, let her still be here. 25 years. But the ego you can listen to them, and they can give you some guidance on some things you need to do. So the next stage of forgiveness, and this is all part of the spiritual teaching, religious science teaches this idea that on some level of consciousness, we are all doing the very best we can at any given moment where our current consciousness is. Can we all buy into that idea that on some level, even though that doesn't mean we haven't done better before, and it doesn't mean we won't do better in the future, in that moment, we're all doing the best we can in that moment. Now, when you can embrace that idea, it brings forgiveness a lot closer, because you're going, how can I be angry at myself or somebody else that was doing the very best they could at that moment, given their current state of consciousness? And I always like to say the most unevolved person in the world and the most evolved person in the world both can say that. They did the very best they could at any given moment based upon their current level of consciousness. So that takes away a lot of the judgment and a lot of the pressure that we have, okay? And the next level of forgiveness, once you're able to get that, yes, I accept I did my very best, that doesn't mean not making amends. You know, just because you forgive yourself for something that you did, if there's a chance to make a healthy amend, that's a beautiful thing. That's kind of a cleaning of the slate. It's like paying a debt. You know, Shakespeare, I think, said, to err is human, to forgive divine, which is beautiful. But I changed it too. To err is human, to make amends divine. Because you have to let go of your ego in order to say, what I said was wrong. If you're married, you've had a chance to do this a lot. But what I said was wrong, and I'm going to do much better with that. So that might be another stage of forgiveness, of really getting to the place to where you know that you and the other person did the very best they could at any given time. The fourth stage of forgiveness, according to Armand, is not only did you and they do the best you could at that time, given the current state of consciousness, you and they if everything is in divine order and everything is perfect in the universe just the way it is, then you and they did the only thing you could at that very moment. That doesn't mean you can't change it and do something different in the future, but in that moment, what you did was the only thing you could do. I like, to me, the idea that everything's perfect in the universe feels a little off to me sometimes when I see things that are going on that I'm not happy with, and it's always been that way. But Wayne Dyer has a great way of putting it into a paradox. Some of the most deep, spiritual, powerful things are paradoxes that seem to be mutually exclusive. So he says, everything is perfect just the way it is, and so is your deep desire to change it. That's perfect too. You can't say everything's perfect, so I don't need to do anything. No, you're gonna know what is yours to do. You're gonna know where to be an activist. You're gonna know what to write, what to say. There's a part of you that knows all that, and that's perfect too, to make changes, okay? So you find a peace in the exception that you can't change the past, but also your desire to change it is equally perfect, and follow that. So then you're getting to a pretty high place where it's hard to judge people and yourself if you know you did the very best and the only thing you could at the time. Now you have a new moment in that moment to make an amend and do some more deep work on it.
And thank you for giving.
Yes, so the final kind of stage of forgiveness is when you can get to this point and really mean it, not just in your head. What do they say? The longest journey you'll ever take is 18 inches from here to here. It's a long journey to get the heart involved too, but if you can get the heart and the body involved with the mind, then you can get to a place where you say, I forgive myself, I forgive that person for giving me whatever I most needed at the time to be a better me. Forgiving. I thank them and forgive them for giving. If you could, that's a high level. Please do not have a person that you're having challenges with and decide you're going to start thanking them tonight. Move, and you don't have to ever say anything to them, by the way. You get to that point to where on the inside you thank them because you have become a better person because of what showed up, that particular experience, okay? Anybody read Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights? It's really powerful, and he talks about that a lot. He says, I look at every single thing in my past, and I know even the worst stuff, and I thought my childhood was tough till I started listening to his childhood. Holy cow. And yet, he looks at every single aspect of it as important pieces to be where he is right now. That is a tall order. It doesn't come naturally to me. It seems from listening to him that it came more naturally to him. But he says, I love who I am now, and how could I be who I am now without all those little steps that led up to it? So again, you don't have to go around telling people, hey, remember when you abused me? Thank you. No, this is an inside job, okay? An inside job where part of you is grateful for the amazing you. I don't know if this ever happens to you, but a lot of times I will meet people, and in a very short time, I feel this deep connection, like, I really resonate with this person. I think I'd like to get to know this person better. There's something special about them. And 99 out of 100 times, they will have been through a very traumatic situation. And I'm going, that's it. These traumatic situations become fertilizer. We talked a little bit that. By the way, the 150 people that were here last night, I'm glad we had to bring out extra chairs and everything. That was amazing. But we talked about this, that the things in your past can be fertilizer for the flowers that are blooming now. So, pre-forgiveness, I know I need to forgive. I forgive that jerk for what they did to me. They're kind of moving into the ego a little bit, but then moving beyond it. Did the very best they could. I did the very best I could. They did the only thing they could. I did the only thing they could. A part of me thanks myself and them for creating a situation that would help me to become who I am right this moment. Again, I believe in being gentle on yourself. Just because you hear of a thing that feels good and sounds like it's the right thing to do, let your body go through the stages.
And in order to forgive, it's important to release, excuse me, those negative energies and negative emotions so that we can move through it and then get to the other side of that. So then we can get rid of hopefully lessen the pain, the anger, the resentment. So then we can have a more joyous life in that. But it's important to know, after you've done your forgiveness work, as Armand said, to know where they fit in your life after that. Set boundaries. And if you go within and go, you know what, I don't think I want to spend much time with them. So you can decide, well, what's that boundary going to be? And sometimes boundaries it's better for not to see that person, right?
Exactly, not to have them in your life. It says love thy neighbor. Doesn't say like thy neighbor. We're not supposed to like everything equally. We're not supposed to like everything the same. There are people I love living in Florida. It's my favorite state. I talk to other people when we're around the country. They go, how can you live in Florida? And I say, and this is what I do when people are thinking about moving. I go, boy, the heat and the humidity, I don't think it's going to work for you. Because I like it the way it is. If everybody finds out how great it is here, we're in trouble. We're going to be California #2. So, but yeah, and another thing, and I think Marianne Williamson said it too, everything from yourself and another is either a gift of love or a call for love. And those little ideas, a call for love and a gift for love, help you to better have a handle on the big picture. We watched this TV show called Ted Lasso, and they're going to be doing a 4th season soon. Thank you, God. I miss it. But he said something, and I don't know if he quoted, because he quotes Brene Brown and a lot of spiritual leaders. I've never seen a TV show that was as self-help as this show. But he said something one time, I hope that we would all judge ourselves and others, not by our worst moment in life, but by our best. If we're going to make a judgment, judge it by our best self, because that's really when our higher self is in charge, is when we're our best self. But it's so easy to think about the one thing that the person said, that maybe you hung out with them for several years, and it was awesome. They did one really bad thing, and then that's the thing you focus on, okay? So yeah, so love or a cry for love or cry for help. Now, Angelina has this really great little story that exemplifies how quickly our brains can shift from judgment to compassion. And that's a little bit what Palm Sunday is about, is moving from the lower vibration to the higher vibration. To go from judgment to compassion, and she's amazing. She'll look at any TV show or any news thing and see somebody acting in ways that we feel is horrible, whatever we see. And she will almost always say, what a wounded inner child that person has. And I immediately go, that is such a beautiful way of looking at that. And it's true. It doesn't mean you don't do your work. It just means that you see the beauty of the being inside there. So your little story about the pool?
Oh, the Greg Bear story?
I don't know. I like that story.
Okay, so we study Real Love by Dr. Greg Bear, and he tells this story that, these friends are sitting by the pool, and you're all having a really good time drinking your iced tea, and then someone splashes water on you. They're in the pool, and they splash water on you. And you get a little annoyed, but you go, that's okay, they're just having fun. I'm just going to continue having our conversation. And then a little more water is splashed on you, and you're becoming more wet and not comfortable with this. But again, you just let it go. And they're being really noisy, and now a big bunch of water comes on you, and you're soaked. And now you're upset, and you're angry. And you turn around and to yell at the children playing in the pool, and you realize it's someone drowning. And they're trying to get your attention because they can't swim and can't get out of the water. And so that's what Greg Bear says, that we're all drowning because we want unconditional love. And that if we just know that when someone's acting out and doing unkind things, it's because they're calling for love. They want love. And so if we can just remember when someone's in a behavior that's not comfortable or good for you, just know they're drowning. And you can either help a person who's drowning, but you got to check in and know that if you can't help that person, at that time, it's good to not and leave. Otherwise, then both of you are drowning.
Yeah, drowning people tend to try to pull you down with them, not because they want you down with them, they want to get out of the water. You know, and there's so many of those kinds of things. Another thing he says is that when we get emptied out, like emotionally, we get emptied out. We don't have much to share with anybody. Okay, we're emptied out. So he says, find a way to get filled back up. So when you're dealing with situations, the great example, the metaphor for the airplane, you know, in case of an emergency, cabin pressure is affected, oxygen mask will fall down. Put your mask on first. Get filled up. Then you can help other people. Then place it on small children. If you have 2 children, pick your favorite. They don't say that. I made that up. That's not true. Who's ever video, we're going to edit that part out. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, there's so many of these metaphors, these practical tools for helping us learn how to take care of ourselves while taking care of others as well. And the more you take care of yourself, the more you're filled up, the less you're drowning, the more you can really be there and help other people.
Right. And so I'm going to talk about self-forgiveness now because it's important to forgive ourselves when we do something that's unkind or say unkind things, or you do something that's you're embarrassed that you did. It's really important to forgive yourself. And so, you know, it's easy to beat yourself up, be angry, be confused and all that. And so if we can forgive ourselves, that's important too, and let that go. And it's ways of that is, you know, be kind and compassionate with yourself, and feel and accept your emotions. You know, feel the anger, feel that, and then release that when you are able to. And don't get stuck in your story. Right? So I had this story as a child, and I used to always tell it. And, you know, I'd forgiven the situation, but I still had to tell the story. And so finally I thought, you know what? I'm tired of telling this story. I'm tired of hearing this story, and I'm not going to tell the story anymore. And you know what? It gave me a lot more peace. And now when, you know, it doesn't even come up for me to feel like I need to tell someone, well, blah, blah, blah. And so just if you can think of, just don't get stuck in that story, because you'll have more freedom if you get rid of that.
Absolutely. And in relationships, you know, we've all seen it before. There will come a point to where you can choose to be right or happy, okay? And if you choose to be happy, you might let something go. You can choose to be right or kind. I have a T-shirt that I got from the Animal Kingdom at Disney that says, if you're deciding to choose between right and kind, always choose kind and you'll be right, you know? And so that's a neat thing. The other word that I like that's a very powerful word is effective, okay? Do you want to be right or do you want to be effective? Okay, I remember a story that happened with Angelina. We were recording. She gets nervous in the studio sometimes because she's a perfectionist and
Yes.
And she wants to do it just right. And I'm like, close enough. So so we have a different experience. But one of our producers was very hard on her, and he was telling her that she wasn't doing something right on a particular song, and he really pushed it. And afterwards, she got kind of frazzled, and I talked to him. I said, you were really, really tough on her today. And he goes, yeah, but I was right. And I said, maybe you were right. You know more than we do about this stuff. Maybe you were probably right. But the way you did your rightness was not effective in bringing out the best vocal performance with her. And it hit to me that day. Sometimes it's better, and talk about a lesson with kids and grandkids. Do you want to be right with those kids, or do you want to be effective in helping them grow? And sometimes let the right go, okay? Like if they say, I know there's a Santa Claus, just say yes. Be effective, you know. Anyway, so there's all these different tools, and we all do them, and we all have them, but we need reminders. And one of the things that bugs me sometimes, you know, I have pet peeves. I just heard a comedian that said what really bugs him is when he gets in an elevator and he presses the floor, and then they have that little button down there where you press it and the door closes immediately if it doesn't close immediately. He says that door is broken. I talked to some ladies in the elevator today, and they agreed. If you're pressing that button, it should close immediately. But here's my other pet peeve. When people use the pulpit to self-promote. I'd like to read something from my book. Just one little thing. This is called I Now Pronounce You Not Guilty. So anyway, this is the most powerful metaphor I've ever heard for forgiveness, and I didn't write it. Mark Twain wrote it. Forgiveness is the fragrance the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. That's powerful. And that's what will happen with those 5 stages if you can get to that last stage of thankfulness, appreciation. You will actually have a fragrance that came from that crush. So, it's really easy to understand the concept of forgiveness in our minds. We let go of our judgments of ourselves and others, and we feel more at peace. But that's in the head, not necessarily in the heart. Not forgiving someone, we've all heard this, but it's another metaphor. Not forgiving someone is like taking poison, hoping the other person will die. Because they don't care that you didn't forgive them as much. You're hurt, you're holding on. So make it very clear how important for your mental, emotional, and even physical health it is to practice forgiveness. It encompasses the body and the mind, full body forgiveness, and our spirit or true nature doesn't need to forgive because it never judged. So full body forgiveness is not a thought, but a process. And a friend of mine said something to me one day. She said, Armand, what's slow is fast. And I said, okay, I know there's going to be something here that I don't get right now. Explain that to me. And she said, well, if you try to rush your forgiveness and things like that, it'll take you a lot longer because you'll have to keep going back to square one. If you allow the full body forgiveness to happen in a gentle, loving way. And she says, then what's fast is slow and what's slow is fast. And I remember my dad said something like that when I was young. This has nothing to do with forgiveness. But he said, Armand, what's easy is hard and what's hard is easy. And I said, Dad, that makes no sense to me. And I was only like 6, but I would have thought I'm having cognitive dissonance right now, Dad. But I didn't have that word. So he said, give you an example. A perfect example is, he says, when you finish the meal and the dishes are all in the sink full of stuff, the easy thing to do is to go to bed. But that'll be very hard in the morning. The hard thing to do is to clean that out tonight, but then it'll be very easy in the morning. So what's hard becomes easy, what's easy becomes hard. And a lot of times we will use that with each other when we be driving, and we're like, do we want to get gas? No, let's just get home. If we get it tonight, we won't have to rush to get it in the morning to get to our location. The hard thing at night makes things easier in the morning. So those are those paradoxes. I love a paradox because sometimes you need a second opinion. Okay. Anyway, so our finale of the service this morning is going to be a song that I wrote in 1996 about my most challenging opportunity to practice what I've been talking about all day. And I can absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, say that my knowledge of forgiveness and the work that I have done in sharing it with thousands of people is largely because of the crushing that this person did to me when I was younger. Absolutely. So I am thanking her. Now, I wrote the song to get me to pre-pave the road for it. It's like I was writing a song from my higher self, what I wanted to be, but I wasn't there yet. But overall, I was working on that. So here's a little interesting thing that just happened recently. So this was a surrogate mother of mine. When my mom went away, I had a surrogate mother. And she did not want to be having to take care of me, but she did. And so it created
She was very young.
She was very young. And so it was my older sister, but she became more of a surrogate mother. Mother, yeah. And so it took 50 years before we ended our contract. Has anybody ever ended a contract with a family member? Sometimes that is a healthy boundary for both of you. But it was really hard. And this happened in 2012. And so I haven't seen her, spoken to her since, and I've been doing my work, and I get more loving over time. One thing that came to me recently, a brand new thing, is I thought, what if there are people in your life, you're not bad, they're not bad, but they have a different language dialect. When you say, I'm so happy to see you, they hear, you're a piece of dirt. Because of their language. You don't speak the same language. And you try to speak the same language, but every time you get together, the two languages don't mix. That takes all the judgment out of it. I realize I cannot speak this person's language, and I don't want to try anymore because I did it for 50 years. Well, my oldest sister made her transition about a month ago, and the other sister and I are going to have to see each other at some point. And so I'm digging in. I'm going, have you done your work? If you're scared to see her, you probably haven't done your work, and I'm still working on that. So that's going to happen in the next few weeks. I'm going to have to practice what I preach. But I think this new idea that people that speak a different language it's just horrible. It just doesn't work. And you try to learn their language, but you can't, and they try to learn your language. And it doesn't mean anybody's wrong, but it means you need to not talk with each other because all it's going to do is create drama. So this is called, I forgive you, for you know not what you do. You should read it. Haunted by the times you made me cry, feeling not quite good enough, not understanding why. I blamed you for the hell that I was in, then I burned through my resentment so I could love again. I forgive you, for you know not what you do. When you did those things that hurt so much, you didn't have a clue. Love needs no conditions, it will always see us through. I forgive you, for you know not what you do. I still have an angry thought or two. I don't do well with those that try to tell me what to do. But I still try to turn the other cheeks. Watch me walk away, you'll know exactly what I mean. But I forgive them, for they know not what they do. When they do those things that hurt so much, they haven't got a clue. Love needs no conditions, it will always see us through. I forgive them, for they know not what they do. The more you give away, the more you have. Everyone's a mirror of some part of you. It could be anger, but why not choose love? It could be love. Haunted by the times I've made you cry, bringing out the worst in me, not understanding why. We can heal together perfectly. I can be more loving, but there's one thing that I need. Please forgive me, for I know not what I do. When I do those things that hurt so much, I haven't got a clue. Love needs no conditions, it will always see us through. Please forgive me, for I know not what I do. Please forgive me, I forgive you. And so it is. Sure, we got you covered. He can't believe he just asked me to borrow money, okay?
Forgive me. Well, I hope you enjoyed Armand and Angelina, right? I mean, it's
Thank you.
we're so blessed. They have a wonderful way of combining music and humor with the message, and I just think that music and humor and the wonderful wisdom in the message, the music, humor, glues it to our soul. So thank you so much. Ken's not here, as we all know, so he's asked me to remind us that now is the time to support the center like we need to, so we can have wonderful folks like Armand and Angelina come through on occasion. So as always, there's 3 ways, right? At least 3 ways that we can think of to support the center. Through prayer. We could always use prayer. It's a lot of prayer work, I'm sure, that got us through those hard times that Armand and Angelina even were witness to, many centers that didn't make it. Through volunteers, boy, we got a lot of stuff going on in the center these days, and we could use more volunteers. See me, see anyone on the board. If you have any interest in volunteering, we'll find a great spot for you. And then the other thing is, the electric company doesn't really like prayer, and they don't really like. I volunteers to put up some telephone lines for them, and they didn't accept that either. So coin works well for us. So our ushers are going to pass the basket around, and we appreciate your generosity. Armand and Angela, though, they have some things for us, right? They want everyone to know that their music, the music they offer through their CDs and books, there's a suggested exchange basis for that. So please take what you desire out there, give from your heart, and feel free to tithe in the future if you don't have it now. So, once again, they're showing their generosity. So thank you so much.
Mike, thank you. I'll recycle that. All right, the prayer of St. Francis. Love, make me an instrument of your peace, which is what we're all doing here. Love, make me an instrument of your peace.
Love, make me an instrument of your peace.
Join us if you like.
Love, make me an instrument of your peace.
Once more. Love, make me an instrument of your peace. We bless these offerings. We bless these generous hearts. We know that as we give, it is returned back to us. That is the law of the universe. We will use this financial abundance to do good work, to share this message with everyone here and everyone they meet and everyone in cyber world. Thank you, Great Spirit. And so it is. Amen. So what do y'all usually do now at the very end? Closing song. Let's do a song from Godspell. Yes. We'll do a song from Godspell. And what is it called, honey? Day by Day. So we're going to change the word Lord to God, just to keep it more universal here. Okay. Why not? Stand up. Let's sing it. Godspell, come on. Broadway in church. Day by day, day by day. Oh, dear God, 3 things I pray: to see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, rock it out a little bit, maybe. Okay. Day by day. Ooh, ooh. Day by day. Oh, dear God, three things I pray. To see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day. I think it's time for some disco. Day by day. Woo, woo. Day by day. Oh, dear God, three things I pray. Three things I pray. To see thee more clearly, day by day, love thee more dearly, see thee more clearly, day by day, love thee more dearly, day by day, follow thee more nearly, day by day. Here goes a bunch of them. Day by day by, day by day by, day by day by, day by day by, day. Just like Walt Disney World, we have a souvenir shop located conveniently at the end of the ride. Oh, quick question or a statement. The flu class we were planning to do isn't going to happen because of the other church coming in. However, around 11:30 or 12, I will be doing a very short one. We had a few people buy flutes today, so anybody that wants a little short flute class for just 15, 20 minutes, we'll do that in the hospitality room. Thank you.